Merry-Go-Round by John Allison has reached its conclusion after 7 years of endless daily updates. I myself am a fan of the comic and am talking in this fake accent for no good reason. Yeah. Okay, accent is gone, which is good and disturbing that I was talking that way. But on to the comic. Like I said, Scary Around is the 7-year epic. Yeah. Yeah. It's a 7-year, very freaking long webcomic by John Allison that pretty much updated every day of the week for those 7 years. Revolving around a revolving cast of characters and mainly focusing on a group of 20-somethings in the imaginary town of Tackleford, England. The characters went around solving mysteries, going on adventures, and generally engaging in witty dialogues and conversations. If you are interested in reading the comic, though, or preparing for the new comic that he started, Bat Machinery, which is a continuation of it, or if you have read Bobbins, which is the precursor to Scary Around, though it is not required reading for the comic, at least from my understanding, then good news, because I'm here to give you my review, tell you what you need to read if you are going to read the comic and you don't feel like reading everything, and generally just talk for a few minutes and probably make some funny faces. Because I've got about 5 minutes of that on tape from the outtakes, and it's hard not to do. Anyways, Scary Around begins solving mysteries. Scary Around begins with two characters, Tess and Rachel, solving mysteries that pretty much solve themselves. You get the feeling, though, that John Allison realizes that the characters are horribly unlikable when he introduces other characters, including Shelley Winters from his previous comic, and the new characters Amy Chilton and Ryan Beckwith into the comic, and it departs from solving mysteries and goes into actually enjoyable storylines. Like I said before, the mysteries pretty much give you all the clues by pretty much there's no build-up for the mystery, there's no allowing you to solve it yourself. If you can't figure it out, though, by the time you have enough clues, you're probably not reading or paying attention all that closely. Eventually, though, when the story drops the entire mystery aspect of it, it becomes much more enjoyable. The problem is that you've got a few years where this does not happen. In this time, though, he has built up a decent archive of interesting stories, and the first and probably most enjoyable story from the early years is Ballad of the Man. After this point, though, the comic goes down in quality. Adjusting my notes, documents, notes magoots. And the comic pretty much starts going really slowly until you get into Bad Religion, which, luckily for you, is a continuation of the Ballad of the Man storyline. So pretty much read Ballad of the Man, skip to Bad Religion, and then read everything on from there, because that's when shit gets real. The comic gets enjoyable, and you can see why he's able to live off the comic and products. And yes. Now, the humor is mostly based around dialogue, which is perky, strange, and good for people who like their humor to be dialogue-based. For example, if you like Arrested Development, you'd like it. You'd like the series more than a person who, per se, likes Family Guy. It's more intellectual, it's good for people who like conversation, and it's good for people who like people. The art itself goes through a few main periods. There's the original, more or less, copy pasta phase where he had all the characters' heads and faces and stuff modeled out, and he does not overuse them in the way where other artists, Buckley, overuses the whole copy pasta idea, where it's literally the same characters in the same clothes over and 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 over again. He changes their costumes, he makes them go into different poses, and it's generally enjoyable, and I really didn't notice it until he revealed that's what he was doing. Then he goes into his first hand-drawing phase, which ends rather shortly, but it's a test, and he realized that it was taking a while, and if I remember correctly, he was still not being able to fully live off the comic yet. So it's enjoyable. It's reasonable. Then he returned to the copy pasta style art, but he has borders this time, which helps to distinguish the characters a bit more, and he changed the models. He goes back to hand-drawn again, and then back to digital, and then he finally gets to the pretty much final style of hand-drawn art, which is what he continues on making only slight alterations to for the rest of the comic. And the art, I personally enjoyed it. Some people haven't, but it's really personal taste. I like the fact that he changes the characters' clothing, he changes their hair occasionally, and yeah, I mean, the characters are able to evolve as much as their outfits do, and it's not eternal men, children going on and complaining about video games and such. All in all, the comic is a very enjoyable experience, and I'd suggest reading it. If you aren't up for reading the entire series, like I said, just read Ballad of the Man, and then skip ahead to Bad Religion. That's Ballad of the Man, and then Bad Religion. Everything should pretty much fill itself in, and if it doesn't, Wikipedia. 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 I'd have to give the comic an A-, because as much as I do like it, the early chapters are rather boring, and that, yeah, that's pretty much my main reason. Main chapter is badly written, and you can't write mysteries. But I love the comic. I supported the guy financially by ordering a shirt, and give it a try if you haven't. Give it a try again with my tips if you didn't like it the first time you tried reading it and didn't get that far. And if you're watching this and such, and you're a fan of the comic, and if you agree, thanks for watching. This is Koltreg's Nerding Blog Jamboree. Blog, video, blog, review, blog, 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 blog. Thank you.